Welcome to the History of the World Chess Championship. I am your presenter, International Master Dr. Danny Kopek, and I am very happy that you have invited me into your living room. My goal is to enlighten and entertain while trying to pass on to you a certificate of what I call chess culture. I feel that any cultured chess player should know the games and styles of all the world chess champions. In these few hours, I will try to convey the essence of what made up these world champions from my perception. I hope that you will take this little journey through more than 150 years and 3 epochs of chess history with me. I am very pleased to have been deeply involved in the royal game for the last 50 of those years. Alexander Alekhine was born in 1892 in Moscow and died in 1946 in Estoril, Portugal at age 53. He played for Russia and France, and he was world champion from 1927 to 1935, and then again from 1937 to 1946 when he died. Little time did Capablanca have to enjoy his title, as there was a demon lurking who for 12 years had prepared to challenge him. In earlier years, on the international tournament circuit, Capablanca and Alekhine, both coming from privileged backgrounds and of the same generation, had been friends. Alekhine was the first complete chess professional in that he deeply studied all phases of the game: opening, middle game, and endgame. He was the first to pay serious attention to opening theory. However, his acclaimed genius was in finding combinations. Yet it is well known that just as you cannot build a house without a strong foundation, you cannot play combinations in chess without a sound positional buildup. Alekhine was recognized as the diabolical attacker, but his secondary genius was in building up and attaining favorable positions. He was the primary representative of the school of dynamic chess. The great attacking player Rudolf Spielmann said of Alekhine, "I can comprehend Alekhine's combinations well enough, but where he gets his attacking chances from and how he infuses such life into the very opening, that is beyond me. Give me the positions he obtains, and I should seldom falter." My friend and esteemed colleague, Dr. Anthony Sadie, said in the Battle of Chess Ideas that Alekhine was the most complete chess artist in history. In 1914, he tied for first place in the Championship of Russia, and then he was third at the Great St. Petersburg tournament behind Lasker and Capablanca. By then, his successes and style were already attaining attention. But his career was largely interrupted between 1914 and 1921 by World War I, and Alekhine reemerged poor in Berlin in 1921. He could only be denied first place in tournaments by Lasker and Capablanca. He was third in New York 1924 behind Lasker and Capablanca, just as in St. Petersburg 1914, 10 years before, and in New York 1927, again behind Capablanca and Lasker. So, with the interruptions of World War I, one could say that not much has changed in the supremacy of the chess world between 1914 and 1927. Alekhine, with tremendous preparation, beat Capablanca in 1927 in Buenos Aires 6-3 with 25 draws, a close match of considerable length. his technical play was on a par with Capablanca's, while he was able to achieve favorable positions. He was a bit inactive in the next few years, avoiding a rematch with Capablanca, just as Capablanca had avoided giving Lasker a rematch. In 1929, he beat the powerful challenger Bogolyubov 11-5. Then he won the strong tournament in San Remo in 1930 with only 2 draws and 13 wins. There followed an apparent decline, although he won Bern 1932 to 12.5 out of 16, a point ahead of Oiva. This prompted Bogolyubov to challenge him again in 1934, but again Alekhine trounced him 8-3 with 15 draws. Game 9, Richard Reddy White versus Alexander Alekhine, Baden-Baden, 1925, round 8. This is perhaps Alekhine's most famous combinational game. We pick up the action at move 16, where White has just played knight c5. Reddy's system of hypermodern play seems to have been pretty successful, with White having a good configuration on the queen side and ready to begin a minority attack. Black's kingside chances, on the other hand, look very distant at this point. So Alekhine tries to trade off the light-squared bishops with bishop h3. Reddy declines with bishop f3, bishop g4, again offering a trade of bishops. Reddy declines, Alekhine offers, Reddy declines, Alekhine offers. Here Reddy could have acceded to a draw with bishop g2. Little could he have known that he would become the victim of one of the greatest combinations of all time. So Reddy plays bishop h1, and Alekhine begins his attack with h5. Reddy continues on the queen side with b4, a6, rook c1, h4, a4, hg3, hg3, queen c7. Alekhine zooms in on a weakness around the white king. b5, ab5, ab5, and now comes the out-of-this-world spectacular blow, rook e3. And from here on, the game looks like just one long combination. Knight f3, c takes b5, queen takes b5, knight c3, queen takes b7, queen takes b7, knight takes b7, knight takes e2 check, king h2, knight e4. Rook c4. Had White played f takes e3, the knight takes d2, knight takes d2, knight takes c1, wins the exchange for black. So instead, after rook c4, play follows knight takes f2, bishop g2, bishop e6. Rook on c to c2, knight g4 checks. Black's conglomeration of pieces around the white king in an endgame is very formidable and rarely seen. King h3, knight e5 check, king h2, rook takes f3, rook takes e2. If bishop takes f3, knight takes f3 check, wins for black. So after rook takes e2, play continues. Knight g4 check, king h3, knight e3 check, king h2, knight takes c2, bishop takes f3, and now comes knight d4, forking the rook and bishop. Rook to f2, knight takes f3 check, bishop takes f3, and here comes another fork with bishop d5, and only now does this long and beautiful combination of Alekhine's end, forcing Reddy to resign. Game 10. Alexander Alekhine White, Jose Raul Capablanca Black, from the 34th game of their World Championship match in Buenos Aires, Argentina. In this modest-looking, relatively equal position after 22 moves, when Black has just played queen takes e6, Alekhine initiates a sequence of moves which lead to the gain of a pawn. Through a series of small combinational strokes forcing favorable exchanges, Alekhine brilliantly converts the pawn into victory. He demonstrates that he can beat the Cuban at his own game with flawless technique. Play continues. Queen a5, knight c4, queen takes a7, knight takes b2, rook takes c8, rook takes c8, queen takes b7. And now white is up a pawn. Knight c4, queen b4, rook a8, rook a1, queen c6, a4, and the pawn is staying on the board. Knight takes e4, knight takes e5. Alekhine continues with a mini combination. Queen d6, queen c4, queen takes e5, rook c1, knight d6, queen c1, queen f6, knight to e4. Knight takes e4, rook takes e4. Alekhine's little combinations have netted him a pawn, which turns into a decisive advantage. Rook b8, rook e2. The rook heads behind the passed pawn. Rook a8, rook a2, rook a5, queen c7. Queen a6, protection. Queen c3 check. King h7, rook d2, queen b6. If now rook takes a4, rook d8 wins for white. Rook d7, queen b1 check, king h2, queen b8 check, g3, rook f5, queen d4, queen e8, rook d5, offering exchanges, rook f3, h4, queen h8, queen to b6, queen a1, king g2. Alekhine secures his king, forking the queen and rook, and so Capablanca must exchange queens. Queen d4, rook d4, king g7. With a rook alongside or behind an outside pass pawn, which is an extra pawn, the ending is known to be a win. a5, rook a6, and now the rook stays alongside the pass pawn. Rook f6, rook d4, rook a6, rook a4. Now the rook has maneuvered behind the pass pawn. King f6, king f3, king e5, king e3, h5, king d3, king d5, king c3, king c5, rook a2, king b5, king b3. Of course, now Capablanca cannot win the pawn, exchanging into a lost king and pawn ending. King c5, king c3, king b5, king d4, rook d4 check, king e5, rook e6 check, king f4. The white king heads to the king side, which be a decisive advantage. King a6, king g5, rook c5 check, king h6, rook f5, f4. Now black is running out of moves. Rook c5, rook a3, rook c7, king g7, rook d7, f5. A decisive lever which settles the game. gf5, king h6, f4, gf4, rook d5, king g7, rook f5, rook a4. King b5, rook e4, king h6, a6, king h6. Black is heading for zugzwang. Rook takes a5, rook e5. Of course, all king and pawn endings are now won for white. Rook a1, king h5, rook g1, rook g5, rook h1, rook f5, king b6, rook takes f7, rook c6, rook e7. A tremendous demonstration of Capablanca-like technique by Alekhine.